Check out Legal Mindset, W Legal Mindset.
Destiny has now defamed Hasan Piker in a leftist on a socialist battle. We're going to get into that today on Legal Minds, where we teach you to be your own judge. Of course, I'm Andrew Esquire, American attorney.
It's looking
bad here
bad
in the USA for however long that is, keeping that a little mysterious. As he's coming from Collargate to various other comments he's made and defamation of his own and other behaviors. So it's kind of the bad against the bad here, of which I have no particular dog in this fight. Whether the legal mindset. Of course, I've got the PowerPoint for you.
PB!
And we're going to talk about that today here with Destiny defaming Hasan. So let's get into it. Obviously, our players, our characters in this, drama today, this legal drama today is Destiny. Once again, I love this Attack on Titan version of him. It's just absolutely my favorite. But you got Destiny, obviously a streamer, and obviously one of the reasons that might be behind this is obviously people on the left are all fighting with other people on there with either one. But now with Hasan, who's the other character here, and of course you've got his constant protector and
that picture.
senpai there, Dan Clancy.
That picture,
Hasan, once again, no innocent.
He's wearing boxers in this, so don't think that he's not wearing. It was for like some kind of photo shoot or something or another. It's so funny, dude.
Angel over here. Hasan definitely has many flaws of his own, but even a flawed person can be defamed. Even a flawed person or a person that we don't like. Important thing, and this is something that's very critical, and a lot of people lose this, particularly if you don't travel outside of the United States, is that the engagement of sex work around the world is not like it is in the United States. Mm-hmm. In some countries, it's legalized formally. In some countries, it's legalized informally. In some countries, the definition of prostitution is something that is very narrow. So because of that narrow definition, it's kind of informally okay, even though on the books, it's not okay. But in Germany, they've formally done it. And in fact, as part of that, much like the Netherlands and other countries, they said, hey, you've got to do things like provide, benefits for these people. You've got to pay for them.
Well, that's one of the things that, like, if they legalize prostitution in America, it would really help out a lot of people that are doing it illegally. They're going to do it regardless, but at least there would be benefits to them doing it. They would be protected if they did it.
They've got to get wages, the sort of protections that you'd want if you're going to decriminalize sex work, you're going to legalize sex work, and to make it safe for the people involved.
Like, let's be honest here. Cultures have been doing sex work for thousands of years. Why the fuck would we reinvent the wheel now? Like, come on.
And one of the people who's actually been surprisingly pro sex work legalization is Hasan Piker. Now, why I say surprisingly, because his typical leftist allies are typically against that. In fact, the groups that are most rabidly against that are usually radical feminist groups, although there are groups on the right that are opposed to this as well. But once again, we're talking about inter-left battle here. So looking at this mega brothel, once again, a place that was established during FIFA because the owner, as he quoted during the World Cup, sex and football belong together. So he started this mega brothel, and it's been in operation for a while. But Destiny came out and said, if Hasan is going to reach so hard, and once again, I'll give some context here. Destiny is mad because of Hasan's jokes about Nick Fuentes and him engaging in a potential amorous relationship. Once again, whether or not these things are true, who knows, right? Maybe Destiny wants to come after.
I think that the best thing that Hasan could do is file defamation against Destiny. But if he doesn't, I'm not gonna lie, that calls into question a lot.
Or Hasan for defamation in regards to his.
Again, this is just internet drama until we see court documents.
Relationship with Nick Fuentes. That would be a fun case to cover. But beyond that, Destiny was fun. Destiny was mad about this joke, this fun that was made at his expense, and so he clapped back at Hasan, and he said Hasan is going to reach this hard to say I kickstarted Fuentes' career. Then I am responsible for his career, Hasan's career, 10x over. And once again, nothing about that first part is necessarily defamatory. They're arguing about whether or not they got Fuentes a start. Who knows about that? That's really neither here nor there. But the second part is the defamatory part.
Yep.
And that is Hasan effed a 15-year-old when he was visiting that brothel in Berlin. That's why he doesn't like to talk about it as much now. And he continued, Destiny doubled down on this. And this is the part where it really gets into defamation, saying that's quite the allegation. And Destiny says it's common knowledge behind this. common knowledge without providing any sort of proof, without providing any sort of Carfax, without providing any sort of other thing, saying, hey, Hasan told me this himself. If Hasan wants to contest it, he can sue me, but he won't, because the truth is an absolute defense against defamation. Well, I hope you have a lot of proof of that, because just saying it's common knowledge doesn't actually do that. And what I think he means by common knowledge is it's on internet forums, it's on places that perhaps don't like Hasan, right? And put that line out there. So let's look at the actual facts here. So the facts about Artemis, when you look it up online and you look into, okay, what actually happened with this brothel? What you really find is what honestly is a tax raid. And as we all know, the Joker even fears the tax man. You do not mess with the tax man. You make sure you pay your taxes. Guys, pay your taxes, right? There was a massive raid on a German mega brothel. This in 2016. So remember, this is after Hasan visited, but there's a alleged human trafficking and tax fraud. And this was a raid in 2016 where they were accused of evading 17.5 million in Social Security payments. Now, this is something that is very common, not just with brothels, but with many companies, where they make people pretend to be self-employed to avoid these payments for Social Security. I'm looking at you, Niji Sanji, VTuber companies. They do this all the time with, pretending people. But of all the positions out there, that's probably one that I agree with Hasan more than anything else, which is kind of crazy, because that issue kind of splits along the male-female divide. Typically, most men across divides typically would agree with that. Some females agree with that, some don't. It's kind of split there. But that's a very interesting one, as a lot of the stiff opponents are the radical leftists. We don't know the age or the gender of any sex worker engaged by Piker. Now, I'll talk about that later, because you can make an accurate statement about Piker and you can say things about his visit that are non-defamatory. The other thing is the age of consent in Germany is 14. So if he did engage a 15-year-old sex worker, it would not necessarily be illegal. Now, I don't know all the German statutes on sex work. It's possible that while the age of consent in Germany is 14, there could be some statute regulating German sex workers, right? That says they need to be 18 or they need to be 16 or whatever else. I don't know. Accusing him of a crime. Now, it would be accusing him of something that would be damning to his reputation. Relevant to this is that Destiny admitted to CSAM on his PC. He's essentially said that he has videos, etc., on his PC about Rose, who was at the time, and based on all the facts we know right now, was underage, right? Which fits the criteria for that. So obviously there's some deflection that needs to happen on, or that Destiny is trying to make happen on his part. So an analysis of the truthful statement, a truthful statement that is non-defamatory, would say that Hasan visited a German mega brothel that was later raided for tax fraud and human trafficking. You can say it was raided for that, right? That's true. There are appeals, there's other things that happen there, right? And now there's a lot of talk about the underage person, et cetera, all the underage claims. Apparently that happened in 2013 and was unrelated to operations in 2010. I'm not sure. The details on that are very sparse. It's hard to find exactly what happened in something underage. Well, it would appear that that was not the case in 2010. And therefore, the most you could say, and I think this is fair, is that if Hasan visited Artemis in 2010, he likely engaged a sex worker, right? Likely. That you can't say for sure because you don't know of that Destiny could possibly muster that would meet an appropriate bar that would get him scot-free off of defamation at a motion to dismiss level. Remember, guys, and we've talked about this with many cases, it's not about winning the whole case. It's about getting past the motion to dismiss, getting to discovery, and then getting them to settle. And I think Destiny will be forced to settle on this because I don't think he's got enough bulletproof evidence to get that motion to dismiss and say, yep, truth is an absolute defense and I've got the truth. I know the truth.
I think what Destiny's doing is he is banking on Hasan being too guilty to try and get him for defamation. I think that's what's going on here. I really think that.
Were you in the room, Destiny?
Banking on.
Were you sitting in the chair in the corner? I mean, if you were, I think that's a story of the century, but he's somebody you might want to go at. Typically with defamation, you don't want to go at it with small fry, with losers, with people that are below you, but these guys are the same level. They're rivals. This would be a very appropriate case. And in fact, Hasan, if he wants to take a good shot at Destiny, this is the best legal opportunity that I think Hasan is going to get to take a headshot at that Stephen Bonnell of Destiny that could actually wound him and perhaps not take him off the internet, but critically wound him at a time in which he is weak, right? He is projecting a false bravado at a time in which
I don't think Hasan's going to do it, though. I actually think Hasan might be feeling a little too guilty if anything actually happened. Especially right now. I bet he feels like the world's kind of stacked against him, especially with all this stuff going around.